Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, and we've got an awesome one coming up with Shane, Ammar, and the one and only Adam Strong. In fact, this is the first time Adam's on the show with me as the host, and it's about time. On today's show, we have the domain game featuring CyberPrevent.com, Brush.ai, and Useless.info. And then we've got the NameJetGonnaJet segment, sponsored by NameJet, and we talk about some domains coming up for auction, such as Poser.com, WinLabs.com, PrivacyPro.com, and Feelings.com. We also talk a bit about domain conference swag, and we talk a bunch about the recent chatter in the domain space about .xyz domain sales. In fact, that's what we talk about for about the first 30 minutes or so of the show. So if you want to get straight to the domain game, please check out the description of the show on domainsherpa.com to find out the exact timing for that. On that note, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at domainsherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. You can also listen to the shows on Apple and Spotify and some of the other podcast platforms as well. And as usual, big shout out to Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains, with a special platform made for domain investors. With that, it's now time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. It's a long one, but it's worth it, so let's go. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jayon, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, a.k.a. Mr. So Fresh and So Clean, the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is the Domain Sherpa Review, where we get into the minds of successful domain investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain name investors ourselves. Say it on every show. These are the experts. There are 4 segments to a Domain Sherpa Review. By the way, you may see I'm rocking gloves. A little bit of swag. We'll get to that. There are 4 segments to a Domain Sherpa review. There's the grand opening. That's where I intro the Sherpas. We do the AKAs. We see what's going on with them. We talk about some related things, some unrelated things. Segment 2 is the domain game. That's where we hear about what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody guesses. We keep scoring. Eventually, we'll send some swag to the winner. Or maybe we won't, but it's still a good time. Segment 3, we got NameJetGonnaJet. That's where, sponsored by our friends at NameJet, where we review a list of domains coming up for auction. We see what the Sherpas like, what they don't like, and all that good stuff. And then last but certainly not least, we've got GrandClosing, where we discuss anything we haven't covered already, what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market trends, current events, and allowing the guests to mention, promote, and talk about anything they want to talk about that we have not already discussed. So with that, let's go ahead and introduce the Sherpas. We got a special guest today. Big, huge shout out. Finally got him on the show. He'd been emailing me every week saying, hey, man, when am I getting on Sherpa? When am I getting on Sherpa? I'm just playing. Those are jokes, by the way, everybody. I probably emailed Adam like 10 times till he finally was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And we got him on the show here today. Mr. Adam Strong, a.k.a. John Wick, a.k.a. Tony LaRussa, a.k.a. Up and Adam, a.k.a. Adam, you're only as strong as your weakest backlink, a.k.a. Adamantium, a.k.a. Matt Damon, because we kind of had the Jimmy Kimmel Matt Damon thing going on. Now, I got to do at least a little quick kind of bio thing, even though I know dude is like, yo, I don't want to be mentioned in the same sentence as Jimmy Kimmel. But, for those of you who don't know, since it's the first show, I got to do a quick little bio. Domain consultant, founder of evergreen.com, logo.com, domain guardians, domain agents, name bio. I mean, he is the OG's OG. He's one of those dudes that you're just like, wait, he did that? He did that? He's been around that long? I mean, it's really something. And domain investor, serial entrepreneur, active in consulting, website development, internet marketing strategies, naming, just tons and tons of different stuff. I mentioned Evergreen, partnered with Jen Sale, our homegirl. Big shout out to Jen. And ICA nominee for the Lonnie Bork Award. I mean, I could just keep going and going, but man, thank you for finally being on the show, bro. It's great to have you here rocking your Bee House hat. Shout out to Shane. So what's up, man?
The audio little bit on me, so I get little pieces. Matt Damon, something, Jimmy Kimmel. No. I'll just keep smiling. I got you though. I got you. I got most of it. I had to switch over to these. I don't know, something was going on with my audio, but I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, that's
I've
what's
been
up,
on the
man.
show before. Like you were acting like I haven't been on the show
I
ever.
know you've been on the show a bunch of times, man. I mean, you know,
All right.
but since I had taken over hosting, you know what I'm saying? I'd hit you up with an email. You'd be like,
I got you.
not
I got you.
today, not
Has it
this
really
week.
been that long? Have you not been on with JT? Is
He
that
has
true?
not. This is the first time, man.
No, that's complete nonsense.
I think it is. I
Complete
think
nonsense.
He did the Sherpa Ween. Was that?
Yeah.
nope. That was with Tess, where that's where the John Wick, the AKA John Wick, came from. Yeah,
okay.
that was with Tess. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe you might be right. You might be right.
Which was an amazing costume, by the way. That John Wick shit was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like John Wick.
Literally, John Wick.
If he was about to shoot Philadelphia as his next movie.
Oh,
that's messed up, man.
Oh,
that is messed up.
Well, I decided to come on the show today and rock the what I don't know what this look is called, but
this is the Shane. This is the honey
Shane. I drove it all the way to his front door to make sure he got it. Like
I made sure I rocked the glasses. I didn't do the mullet that everybody got.
This is what Central Illinois looks like right here.
I gotta go get my glasses.
This is like we get this when we move here. There's like a party package that shows us all about corn and beans, and then we get a flat brim and a pair of glasses.
Right. We can all get glasses on.
All right, hold on.
I'm gonna go get mine too.
Yeah, but hey, look, this is what's up. Like I said, so before we jumped on the call, Adam was breaking out some old school swag, and then we brought up the whole thing about the ninja gloves from one of the Names cons, which shout out to Staten Hammock and Right Side, and I guess now Donuts. But I was saying how I still got these. You know what I'm saying? I still got the ninja gloves, which I still wear all the time. I've got like 10 pairs, which is why Ammar said that he has no pairs. So, you know, and so, all right, but look, go ahead, Adam.
No. There you go. I was just gonna say I don't have any of those ninja gloves. You stole them all, JT.
I did. I have them all. I got multiple pairs. I got another pair. I got it's raining ninja gloves in here. You know what I mean? So, and the cool thing is at the time they were like supposed to, you can use them with your cell phone. You know what I mean?
Oh, and, that's what those little. Tips
that's why. Yeah, that's why the fingers are like a little white at the tips. You know what I'm saying?
That's what she said.
That's what she said. I don't even think that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't make sense, but it works.
it's
provocative.
Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative. It gets the people going.
I was thinking about the music for our routine.
Right. We're gonna skate to one song only. Lady Hump by the Black Eyed Peas. What you gonna do with all that junk inside my trunk? I'm gonna get you drunk off my lady hump, my lovely lady hump.
I'm not skating to anything with references to lady humps. I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Oh, you know what? And then I missed one of the AKAs. I was gonna, AKA, how's your portfolio, Greg? Strong to quite strong, which is Meet the Parents. So that was one that didn't make the cut. But since we're talking about movies and other quotes, and we're still on the intros, guys. So let's get moving. We'll talk about some actual domains. We'll keep it moving. Adam's finally on the show. This is a special event. We're all wearing glasses and hats. I mean, this is like the best day ever. So, all right, let's keep it moving. Down to my lower right, we got my boy Shane Culture, a.k.a. Sugar Shane, a.k.a. Honey Shane, a.k.a. Mike Rowe, a.k.a. Blame It on the Shane, a.k.a. House of Shane, a.k.a. The Cultivator, a.k.a. Blue Oyster Culture, a.k.a. The Culture Personality, a.k.a. The Culture Club, a.k.a. Doing It for the Culture, a.k.a. In Shane in the Membrane.
Oh, nice.
Up, man.
This is my first time here. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, let's go. Hey, so I see you rocking your mutant hat, so MAYC. Yeah. Are you, well, let's say you can't
legally allowed to stake? No.
You're not legally allowed to stake. So does anyone that you know staking currently? And
yeah, I got a buddy named Sean that's staking.
Oh, yeah. Sean.
And he
non-culture.
It's funny to see Sean when he stakes what the daily yield is. It'll change as more people stake, but it's all a Ponzi scheme. Glad to be a part.
No, hey, happy to be in early on a Ponzi scheme. That's it.
100%. That's what every Ponzi that's early I've ever met seemed pretty happy with what was going on. So
you got to get in early. That's it. That's how it all works.
But it's it is fun to watch, and then watching NFTs build up as people buy. So It is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and tell people to get into it or not get into it.
No,
but,
I mean, look, I mean, to be honest, the less people that stake, the better for the people who do stake.
Exactly.
And currently, I think the yield is like on the mutants. That's alone, it's like $2,000 a day in
If
apecoin.
you go
right?
full ape right now, it sits at like 2,000 a day. But
I gotta see. I gotta see.
we'll
I
see
gotta
how
have
that
maybe I have
works
to
out.
move
But I
quickly.
mean, I'm living on wool. I mean, I retired on wool. We'll see how long that lasts too.
What's up? Yeah, so that's the wolf game. Shout out to the wolf game and the shout out to the shepherd. You know what I'm saying? And it did the is the alpha game over yet? Can I
Yeah,
unstake
it's
my?
all it's there. You're about to get your little wool package.
I just want my
JP.
wool. I
You're
want
about to
my
have
wool,
your
baby.
wool done. You know, all this technology is dismiss it or not dismiss it. You have to pay attention to blockchain. You have to pay attention to what people are doing with Web3. You've got Dorsey coming out with Web5 with Zion that's going to digitally make you don't have any more passwords. You're going to have a token. When you go to a website, it's going to check your token. You won't ever have to put a password in a website again very soon. So you can dismiss what you want, but the technology behind all this stuff will be the technology that feeds many of our businesses in the future.
Well, so and I think that's a great point. We talked about this, Drew. When he gave his talk in London that we covered a little bit a couple shows ago. The big thing was really the direction of Web3, digital assets. Sort of this overlap of domains, crypto, NFTs, and and as to hear him tell it, and I agree with this. This belief that Web3 really becomes an application layer of the existing Web2 ecosystem. And if you look at the way that at least that to me seems like the most tangible sort of immediate application that we'll see of Web3 that's going to really make a difference, which is, like you said, so instead of having to remember all your passwords or to be able to get access to certain things online, Web3 will provide that application layer to make things more seamless, more integrated, and then less about, okay, we're all going to be walking around in a Second Life type of metaverse wearing virtual reality headsets, but instead it's like, no, it actually will provide a lot of really interesting utility on top of the existing web to make, to sort of the next
It's going to start with digital identity. I mean, we won't have a whole talk about it. It's going to start with digital identity. I mean, I work with Humble, I'm trying to think what I can say so I don't get in trouble, but they do have where your birth certificate and your marriage license will all be a token that proves when you go into a bar, that's what you're going to have. You're not going to even show your driver's license. It's actually going to be more secure than that. You're going to have a digital ID that will change everything. That'll be the start. It'll go on from there. Domain names are going to have a part in this.
That are going to want to not have the underage kids in there. You know what I'm saying? Because this is about to mess up dude at the apartment off campus that I got my fake ID from back in the day. And
sales are down,
down bad. They'll be down. Fake ID providers down bad. But no, I'm with it, man. And yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how a lot of this stuff shakes out, but a lot of interesting things happening. And I do agree, we've said this from the beginning when we even started doing the down the rabbit holes, talking about all the Web3 stuff. It's like, if you're into domains, you're into digital assets and you're in the space, whether you like it or not. So it's best to be paying attention. If nothing else, pay attention because it will help to dictate, what trends are going to be coming along, what names might be more useful and more valuable that would be worth targeting. I mean, we all know because we made a bunch of money off of Web3 domains during the big old run up and all that.
That'll be the exciting future to see whether we have to go a different route and go handshake and ENS, or do we take the existing, does ICANN move along and take our aged and archaic and change them to where they're available in a digital Web3 form? I mean, this is all, I'm so excited to be a part of whatever happens here.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I think is super cool about the whole Blue Sky initiative and Jack Dorsey and everything is it's all based off of the existing, internet ecosystem, which really would just seem to then provide a ton of additional value, especially for premium.com domain names, because
we don't have to rebuild everything. We can retool some things. So
I'm with it, man. I like it. I like what you're saying. I'm buying what you're selling, Honey Shane. So speaking of, I don't know
what I'm selling yet. That's why I'm talking to you fellas off the air all the time to figure out what
we got. Good. There's good stuff. Those are all good combos as well. So exciting times. Speaking of honey, you got the beehouse.com, right? I mean, get the coda.
Living on the sugar.
Get the spicy Coda stuff.
Exactly.
Get it for the holidays. It makes great stocking stuffers, everybody.
Yeah.
Sleep.
I mean, I don't get it all at the end. I get it all at the beginning. Yeah. I go to bhouse.com. There's some good package deals. I went and got gift wrap. So if you want a gift wrap for mama with bees on it and a little note, I will do that too.
Oh, you got some. You got
what I got to do. My wife's getting on me. I got to sling some honey. So you
got the wrapping paper with bees on it too?
100%.
Look at that, man. That's what I'm saying. Just too good. So real quick on the Web3 thing, Adam, you were an NBA Top Shots guy. I mean, you were kind of ahead of the curve on a lot of, if I remember, Shane was saying.
I'm going to say it right here in the air. Everything I have in NFTs is due to Adam Strong.
See? I mean.
I got a hat out of it.
I shouldn't say that.
Shane got rich and all I got was this lousy hat.
Alan got me into BitClout too. So it's between those two, but BitClout was the first kind of digital coin.
Still got your Kim Kardashian shares at BitClout or what?
Kim Kardashian shares. But no, Adam, he said, man, you got to get in on this. And then I really didn't get in it. And then he's like, your portfolio is worth like so-and-so. I'm like, what? That stuff that we bought in December of 2020? Wasn't that? Right. Yeah, 20, right? 2020.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
man. Worth nothing now.
Worth nothing. But at the time, it was pretty good. And I sold that to buy monkeys.
That's the thing, man. I think it's the key is just to try to, you can't always time the top and time the bottom, but,
But you can always stay around people that are smarter than you. So.
Yeah, and you can always take and there's nothing wrong with taking money off the table. So
that's how you pay for the table. You got to pay for the table with the money that's sitting on top of it.
These are gems. We're dropping gems for everybody today. Shout out to Adam Strong for finally being on the show and unlocking all this value here on DomainSherpa. He's like, I'm never coming back on here. He's like, I'm out on this bullshit.
I'm good.
He's like, my audio is clipping. I'm out. All right, look, we're not even done with the intros. Let's keep it moving. Below me, we got my boy backed by populardemand.com. It's my man, Ammar Kuba, a.k.a. King Kuba, a.k.a. Danny Ocean, a.k.a. the even greater Gatsby, a.k.a. Amarzan, a.k.a. Kuba Libre, a.k.a. Josephine's husband. We could make him the Pussycat, wasn't it like Josie and the Pussycats or something? I don't know. I guess I'd probably have to Google that a little bit more, but, it was a vibe. I was in the moment. Thought I'd share.
She'll like that one.
Yeah.
I love Mr. Cleaning Up. I like Mr. Cleaning Up.
Mr. Clean Enough. Anyway, what's up, man? What's happening? You there? Sunny but cold Vegas right now, and
it's very sunny and very cold. It's nice. Headed back to LA either later today or tomorrow for a few days, and then back here.
All right, dope. Well, that's cool, man. So that's what's up. All right. Well, look, those are the intros. That is what's happening. So we could dive right into the domain game. We could talk about some other stuff. I mean, you guys have anybody want to talk about before we kick off the domain game?
No, we'll just as we go. I'm sure
I got one. Let's talk about Swetha.
Oh, he pops.
I knew that was
coming. Swetha. You know what I'm saying?
We only spent 2 hours.
There's Swetha and there's Epic. Those are the two things to talk about.
We only spent 2 hours talking about it on my birthday Zoom call.
Which was a blast, by the way. I mean, look, the Swetha thing. First of all, let me say this.
JT, I was kidding, dude.
No.
How many hours was that birthday party call? Like, it was
about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. I bounced it like 4 hours in or something.
I left at midnight.
I left at midnight my time.
I think Kirkendall and I were like timed each other. Like one of them leaves, one of them goes. As soon as
Kirkendall in bed like this, looking at
the video would come on like occasionally. You know what I mean? Like, oops, my bad.
Like closing the laptop. Shirtless, laying in bed. It was great.
But the big shout out to Pretty Ricky. You know what I'm saying? He is that dude for real, and Namecheap. But so here, look, the Swetha thing I think is interesting. There's a lot of chatter. People have been hitting me up like, what do you think? This and that. You're going to talk about it on. I mean, they've literally been like, yo, you're going to talk about it on Sherpa. I mean, here's what I'm going to say. I'm never going to be one that is going to diminish or belittle somebody's success in the domain space. It is not easy to be really successful in this space. It takes it takes being in the right place at the right time. It takes having foresight. It takes having conviction, and and I think Sumner went into the Afternic account and said, look, these are all legit sales. So I've got nothing to say there. I think that I'm excited about Swetha's success. I would love to see Swetha come on this show. In fact, we're going to reach out to her and see if she wants to come on and chop it up with us. We promise we'll be nice. You know what I mean? Let's because I think that would be a good thing. I think to further promote, what she's doing and some of the success around XYZ, further validate the XYZ success, which I think would then, even build up even more momentum and interest in, on the investors, potentially end user side of XYZ domains. So, I think that, a lot of people, their speculation comes from the fact that she's an unknown entity in the space, right? And it's for somebody who's having that kind of success, kind of seems like it came out of nowhere. And, we're a pretty closed community. And then there's the further sort of aspect of this whole thing about COM versus XYZ and all of that kind of stuff. What I'll say about that, well, actually, here, what do you guys think? What do you think? I don't want to necessarily.
I'll say real quick. I celebrate the success of the sales, but I don't celebrate ghosts. So until I meet a person visually and face to face, I don't know that person or if that's a real person. This is the internet. This is an internet full of fronts, and I'm not saying this is. I don't take anything away from all the success of that entity, but I don't know what that is, and all it takes is 2 minutes privately to come on with you and I to say hello visually, and then everything ends and we can end this whole thing. But until that happens, it's always going to remain a mystery. And that's not
really. Not really. I mean, I could say right now I'm Swetha, and you believe what you want to believe. The sales happen. That's cool. I'm not going to go on the record on what I think or how I feel about it. They're sales and they're happening. And just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm just looking. I had to look this up because Shane wrote an article about it. March 23rd, 2010. Domain Shane writes, Cam Roulette sells for $151,000, and everyone starts to dream again. So when I sold that domain, I mean, it was kind of like a surprise and a big deal.
You pulled that all the way up. Were you just reading stories that I wrote about you?
He literally has all that shit bookmarked every time he's written about.
Now. What else did I say?
I was standing next to you when that sold.
Late at night, I just pull up old articles about myself and reminisce. but people called BS on that, and so you believe what you want to believe. It is what it is.
No, and I think that's a good point. And look, and here's what I would say too, to Shane's point. Look, no one needs to prove anything to me, right? Because at the end of the day, we're not the arbiters of fact or the gatekeepers.
It doesn't even matter.
In the domain space. But I think that to the extent that you've got people that are, out there questioning things, and some maybe, I think there's a lot of that. You're like, okay, there's maybe coming from jealousy, or just, people don't know any better, or, maybe people legitimately want to know. The question is, do they have a right to know? I don't know that they do. I think but I do think that if you're trying to establish sort of, you're promoting your sales, right? And you're publicizing your sales, well, then that's going to also invite, some further, critique or evaluation, right? Where people are like, all right, if you're going to be hyping up and cheerleading your success, then people are going to say, all right, well, who is this? What's your deal? And this is a relatively small industry where, I've been lucky enough to be in this, not as long as any of you guys. And, but I've been lucky enough to be in it as long as I have. And I, feel like I almost know, anybody who's been active in the last 5 years, it's like I know them. I met them. You guys know them. You guys know everybody from back in the day. So, so yeah, I think it's the kind of thing, if you're going to promote yourself a certain way, then, you're going to be prepared to have people, further want to know more about you.
I have something. I heard somebody say, well, you didn't meet Yun Yi. Was it Yun? Am I saying that right? Yun Yi?
Yeah.
And yet doesn't
but I know people that did meet him.
Yeah.
So some people did meet him.
And isn't there somebody in this industry that works for him?
John Berryhill.
Yeah.
Is Berryhill real though? I gotta say, you know what I'm saying? He's looked a little like I've seen him at different times wearing different hats and different hairstyles, and I don't know. Is it always the same?
It's an AI.
Berryhill, real quick. He's another one I got to get on the show, by the way, but real fast. And not to jump on a quick, but at the last NamesCon where there was that little bit of that cat fight with the unstoppable domains and the handshake folks, you know. And you know, and I saw John right after. I'm like, John, you know, what's your take from a legal standpoint? Like, what do you think of the legal claims here? He's like, look, he's like, there's a meme I remember of watching, you know, two dung beetles fighting over a piece of dung. And he's like, and it doesn't matter who wins because all the winner ends up with is a piece of dung. And I was like, oh, that's pretty harsh, John. Wow. But I respect your gangster.
That's where this came from, right?
Oh, that's the swag I'm talking about. Dot fail.
So when was John? I was with John at an ICANN meeting, and this is from, I give a little shout out to
it's almost like Adam was set up on this stuff. He's like pulling out old quotes from 2010. He's got a t-shirt from a meeting with John Berryhill.
Yeah, you can call me the domain historian, Indiana Jones or something, right?
Ooh, dude, and I love Illinois Jones though, right? It's got to be like Illinois Jones. Yeah, see, these write themselves after a while. Hold on,
so Berryhill and I were at ICANN, and the new TLDs were like still in the pipeline, right? They hadn't come out yet, and they were promoting this. You could get a T-shirt with whatever you wanted on it. So I picked that fail, and I was with Berryhill, and I think we made those. But I think Ammar, you got one too, right? Like you got a cool
like
one.
I said, I'm all about Ammar, so I got Ammar.
Let's go.
It never launched. If anybody wants to know.
Yeah. I'm going for that in the next round.
Let's go. Yeah, hey, that's where there'll be some really interesting fireworks. And I'm not taking a position necessarily on the legal aspect. I just wanted to get John's take. You know, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff around Unstoppable and Handshake and obviously ENS and all that kind of stuff. I think it's great. But the you know, his as an old school, you know, domain guy, as an OG as it is, you know, he was just like, his take I thought was pretty funny. Plus, he's, you know, arguably the number one, if not like top 3 lawyers in the entire domain space. So big shout out to John. And and I think it's this too, you know. So this is why I'd love to get Swetha to come on the show, because also too, I think people really legitimately want to know. I mean, it's just meaning like it's interesting. I think it's super cool to understand people's journeys when they go through like I said, we've seen a lot of people come and go, you know, a lot of domainers that, you know, have not found success. A lot of people have pumped a lot of money into domains and, you know, didn't do it. I mean, Drew talks about how it cost him $200,000 worth of domain mistakes until, you know, he started seeing some success, right? This isn't an easy space. It seems easy on the outside because you're like, oh, you turned a $10 hand reg into, you know, 50 G's, you know, or like, actually you want to talk about old school articles. I came across one with Adam. And he didn't send me this to bring it up, but you know, he bought what was like a laser copier back in the day that you bought for like, you know, like $12, $15 or $80 in auction. And
I don't remember. It was something like that.
12 G's.
Wait. Let me pull up the article here.
Like, I have it bookmarked right here. You know, it's actually, if you go on to Morgan Linton's blog, shout out to Morgan. That's where that's actually where I came across it. But yeah, like anyway, so success seems easy from the outside looking in. It's not easy in real life. And you know, and again, I think it's just like, you know, to have that kind of conviction to buy up all those premium .xyz domains. I mean, I've been in and around the XYZ registry since Daniel founded it. You know, shout out to Daniel, shout out to Ambrose. You know, those guys have had a ton of success in doing different, you know, things. They've gone outside the box in order to, you know, drive success for the registry. And you know, it's dope. So, but you know, to have this one domainer who's like really killing it, you know, people want to hear the story. People love sharing in the success as much as they love the, you know, conspiracy theory and point fingers and all that kind of stuff. And I just think it'd be a really good thing for the industry to just have more insight into the journeys for people who are successful, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm not as skeptical, I think, as some, but I do think that it would be really cool, I think, and beneficial for the space in general to just get more insight into somebody who's having that kind of success, you know, because it's unique. And I think it's real cool. So that's where I'm at with that.
I think you're right. Everybody wants the success. Everybody wants to see that. And I think we could all anybody in the space knows other people that have sold .xyz. So it's not like, it's not really completely far-fetched. I think the far-fetched kind of nature of this is that it's the sheer amount. Like, I mean, Sumner wrote that, you know, top sales of the, whatever, the domain queen or whatever, like,
Oh, dude, he was like, he got superlative with it. You know what I'm saying? And here's my thing about that. Sumner, I think.
I made the domain queen, by the way. That was my thing.
So
that was me to get Rick Schwartz kind of. I was just poking the bear.
Well, and I think, look, like, you publish publish the sales on name bio. So Sumner feels some obligation to fact check. So then he's got to go into her Afternic account, which probably felt weird. And then when he did that, he's like, oh shit, like, okay, now that I see these are legitimate sales, what am I doing here? So then he's got to like go above and beyond to be like, she's so legit. Not only is she legit, she's the most legit to not quit ever. Ever.
I was hoping you'd add that.
It's like, yo, Mike, man, I get it. Like, I think it's cool, but it's like too legit to quit. Hey. But yeah, man. I mean, he definitely like, not that he was overcorrecting, but I definitely felt like he had to, put a cherry on top of that sundae to make sure
that was overcorrecting. But
but then the other piece of this is the whole .com versus XYZ. So then you bring in,
well, that's just dumb. Like, this is all I'm going to say about that.
Hey, you got to let me do that. Forget it. I think it's dumb. That's a shot. I'll send you the clip on that one later too.
Okay. But go ahead, Ammar.
It's dumb because, like, who gives a shit, right? If however you want to make your money and whatever you believe in, that's what you should be doing, right? Like, if you only want to believe in .com, just buy .com, and if you're getting the sales and you're happy and with your success, then that's it. You don't ever need to look at anything else. But if you want to venture out and try new things, then you can try those other things. And I know there's plenty of evidence. You could say
you could go counterclockwise with it, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, go counterclockwise, y'all. It's okay.
You could go counterclockwise. And if you're going below the equator, of course, but there's plenty of people that are having success with non.com extensions. Just like even before there were these TLDs, there were people that had success with .net and .org and whatever, right? It's just so it's whatever works for you. I don't think we have to shit on each other for like whether you believe her or not, right? Whatever. Who really gives a shit, I guess, is what I would say, other than, the only thing that I could see being a problem, or that I would see as being a problem, is like a pump and dump, right? And that's that I think is the concern. And to me, that would be the only reason she should come on and prove that she's a real person, right? Is just to eliminate the semblance of fraud or pump and dump.
So
because some people could be getting hurt, right? Because there's assuming she's legit. Let's just give her the benefit of the doubt, right? And she's been in this for, I don't know what 10 years or 8 years, whenever .xyz came out. 5?
I mean, like, looking at
I think it was longer, right? She supposedly got in all those, really early.
Maybe, but there's only about three years of like kind of significant sales in history to
because they only really started happening, again, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Let me finish. Let's just give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
let's
sure.
assume
10 years, 5 years, it doesn't matter.
She's totally legit, totally real. There's going to be new people that come out and they see what she's doing, and then they're going to make a lot of mistakes, and somebody's going to get hurt. And what if somebody goes all in on some other new extension, right? In fact, I was reading that ridiculous Twitter thread yesterday. And, somebody was talking about, can you make this the new .xyz or whatever, right? The reason .xyz blew up was purely because of Web3, and it was just total, fortuitous, right? Like whatever hasn't blown up. It's because it was the right place at the right time. And I think a lot of people can get hurt if they just go blindly and believe everything, right? So that to me is the only reason that she should kind of prove that she's legit, is so that you can kind of eliminate that whole thing about it being a fraud or a Ponzi or whatever. Like, Daniel should want her to come out and
well, yeah, and this goes to what I was
myth.
saying, and I guess look, and I'm
but
less
hold
on.
Hold on, I'm not done.
Okay, Kanye,
but,
keep talking.
Actually, we're gonna talk about that. I wasted 5 hours of my weekend watching that interview. Holy shit, the guy is fucking crazy. Anyway,
over my face
but she, other than to dispel the accusations of fraud and to kind of like legitimize herself, I see no other reason she should. Like, if you want to believe me, great. If you don't, great. I don't give a shit.
Well, and I would say this. I would say it's probably, to me, it's even less of an obligation, right? And it would be more of a voluntary thing to say, hey, look, this is an active market with buyers that are spending real money on these domain names, because then that would further create, activity in that part of the space, right? I think that if people, decide to follow what they see happening and it turns out that it's not legit, then they will have less success. And then they'll be kind of sort of out of the picture. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's more of it. It's more about, it's not an obligation not to prove it to anybody, because at the end of the day, it's like, look, I don't need to prove myself to anybody. She doesn't need to prove herself to anyone. But again, you're publishing your sales, so you obviously want people to know. And then if that's the case, then people naturally have questions. So then there needs to be sort of this validation or verification that the sales are legitimate. We saw some of that happen when Sumner went into the Afternic account, right? And I think we can all say that we've sold XYZ domains. You could talk to folks at the different registrars, somebody even like Ricky and I'm sure the folks at GoDaddy and anywhere that's a big registrar that's seeing names selling, XYZ, we know that people are using them, and we know Web3 is a big push for that. We said this on this show. We saw a pretty marked shift of companies using .io as a .com alternative in the Web3 space, and then they shifted over to XYZ. We just saw more XYZs being utilized, period. So, adoption we see happening. Now, for these bigger sales, again, like you said, if they're propping up a market that doesn't really exist, the problem that you're going to have there is then, if you don't further sort of validate that and help to kind of continue to build momentum around that, I think you miss an opportunity. And then what happens is, if you are truly propping those sales up illegitimately, then that market is going to disappear, right? You're not going to have anyone else that's going to follow along.
Well, not to mention you're just a bad person.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you're a piece of shit. Like, no doubt. Like, I mean, that goes without saying. I guess my point is that there's a lot of caveat emptor that has to take place in the domain space, where just because you see people selling .xyzs, .horse, .ammar, .fail, you can't go dive right into it thinking like, okay, and that's where I think you also get people pushing this agenda of wanting to know more. And if it's really coming from a place of legitimate like curiosity, or further just to validate because they want to invest and get busy as well. Adam.
So going back to the Cam Roulette article, the point of the article was that Shane wrote about how that story, and it's the same with anything in the space, and you're hitting on it right there, so I'm just doubling down on you, is that story creates a registration boom in anything roulette. All those names just went nuts.
Yep.
And I picked up a few before that sale, so it wasn't like a big deal, and obviously I probably got one of the best ones, but so that, I think that's the thing that everybody's worried about. But I will say, this whole segment, put your gloves back on, because this whole segment is about JT getting her on the show. We set this up. We planned it before the show started. I just wanted to apologize to everybody. I'm just kidding. But I think if she comes on the show, I think you're the best person to handle that with gloves on.
That's good.
Literally already have.
Literally, you told me to put the gloves back on, and I did. I'm like, I don't know exactly what he's saying, but here I am.
You will handle it delicately, and I think that's probably
crystal coming.
I think she's just. I honestly think that's probably one of the reasons that she's tentative about it, is because it's at this point it's heated up to a point where I wouldn't come out like.
That's fair. And look, and I think that like we treat everybody on the show, like the people who come on the show that are part of our core group are like, we're good people, right? Like good eggs, as Jen would say. And, and I think that, the ultimate goal would just be to try to introduce somebody to the space in a way that could be really good for the space. And of course we'd be respectful and all that stuff. So it's like Swetha, homegirl, if you feel like, you just want, we can edit it out, Billy on post-production. he's, it'll be gentle and easy. Like, let's just come on and have a conversation about domains. We just want to know more. Like, we're excited for you. What's that? Yeah. Help us help you.
Help us help you.
But, we're not about, that's why I said from the jump, like, look, we're not about the witch hunt, because at the end of the day, you don't have to validate anything to me personally. But, I do feel like as somebody who, I'm a domain nerd, I love the space. I love seeing people successful, and we love talk. This is what we talk about anyway. Like you said, we were on your birthday Zoom. You were in full on costume with a whole bunch of balloons behind you, and we were talking domain stuff like the whole time, and because that's what it is. It's what we're all about. So anyway, but like I said, at the end of the day, I think it's cool. I think creating some conversation is a great thing. I would just, ask people to just not be assholes if they, treat people with respect, right, because they're human beings. And if it truly does turn out to be some like bullshit, then, we can, at that point, everyone can take their victory laps and stuff. But in the process of getting there, like, I haven't seen anything.
Elliot's blogs, comments are everything I hate about the industry. I don't know if I don't usually read the comments anymore, but 152 comments of people just berating each other and rude. And again,
wow. I didn't know it was that.
I didn't see that either. Yeah. I saw some of it. I didn't know
it's become so different now. It's become so toxic because
it is. And Rick, I know he's got a personality now, but go read the thread. It's just, it's uncalled for. Everybody in that thread, their parents should be ashamed of them.
Look at you, old man. You just breaking it down.
I'm serious. It's just,
yeah,
exactly. Gave him the wagging finger. It's just not all this doesn't deserve that. That's all I have to say. Like, and Ammar started it where we started this whole conversation is we're all in digital assets. We all make a living in a different way. We all should support each other, respect each other. Some deserve more than others because of the way they treat others. But when it comes down to it, there's no reason to treat anybody the way that people are treating each other, regardless of what they've done. If they steal something from you, maybe that's a different story. But in general, to criticize someone that invest in .horse or .xyz and is happy with their investments, for you to try and chop that pedestal down makes you look like the ass, not the person that bought .horse.
Yeah, no, and look, and I don't think anybody's arguing that, I know Daniel's always trying to bang the drum that XYZ is an alternative to Com, but Com is king. Com will always be king, at least for the.
If it's not, who cares? Like, that's our problem.
Exactly. If it's not, I just hope I buy into whatever becomes the next thing,
So look, I think that's probably maybe the lesson, the biggest lesson of all this is you have to adapt, right? It's adapt or die. That's kind of
your income will tell you whether you're right or not. Yeah. So it does. I don't need anybody else to tell me what that looks like. So
I think that's a good message of like treat others the way you'd want to be treated. It's like my mom used to say, rest in peace, Mom. But like, she would say the thumper thing, like, don't say, I think that's who it was. Like, don't say anything, about anybody you wouldn't want somebody saying about you, or that's that general theme. I don't know.
But if you're into S&M, then maybe you like getting.
But it's based on an invitation / like a concession. Yeah, there we go. You know what? Let's get into the domain game, because now what I'm going to have to do is when we publish the show, we're going to have to publish at what point certain things happen here on the show. But that was domain talk, and I think that's in a lot of ways very topical. Is that really
a little bit?
Damn. All right. Well, let's go. All right. So we got the domain game. So as everybody knows the way this goes, we're going to talk about names that the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody's going to guess the price. We keep score. And then, the winner's going to get some swag at some point, maybe. So let's get it popping. So Adam, you got a buy or a sell? I know you were scrambling a little bit because this was kind of last minute, but.
Yeah. So in general, I haven't been doing much of either thing. Just been kind of chill so this is a buy. It's a little bit, it's a name that I have cybersecurity.com. So we get a lot of inquiries on that. So I kind of chase after other cyber related domains. And this one is CyberPrevent.
I thought I was going to guess on cybersecurity because I was there when you bought it or we talked about it. So I was like, I got this one.
So that was a long time ago.
I know.
So it's CyberPrevent, and I bought it.
Okay.
As a purchase.
So this is a buy, and it's cyberprevent.com. And then, all right. So remember, you put it in your phone, Ammar, and then we flip the phones around. So.
Oh wait, I don't know how to do that.
You have a phone?
You just do it on calculator. You know
put
what
it
I
on
mean?
your calculator.
So that way,
like you just like this.
CyberPrevent.com. All right. All right. You let me know when you guys are ready. All right, here we go. Ready, set, flip. All right. So for those of you who are only listening and not watching, we've got Shane at $950, JT at $2,500, and Ammar at $5,000. All right. So what is the deal with CyberPrevent? You're going to flip it and show us $560. Circle gets a square. Shane doing it for the culture with the big point. So how long ago did you said you bought it a minute ago, right?
Yeah, it was this year, August, maybe July, somewhere around that time period. GoDaddy auctions just showed up one day and thought, hey, I got some money to spend. But
yeah, no, I dig it.
The purpose of buying it is actually like, I think we get a lot of inquiries on cybersecurity, and they're just all tire kickers and things. So I think when you have a premium domain like that, it's nice to have an alternative option to push people towards, rather than just saying, no, your $5,000 offer is junk, and shutting the door on them. We've got an opportunity to sell them something else, or maybe even steer them a different direction, whatever. But I don't know. It has that potential, and I think it qualifies as a halfway decent brand. But anyway, yeah, it's $560. It's not.
Yeah, no, I think that all makes sense. You know what I mean? And I think kind of to your point, and we do that, as well. Like when we have a name that we either, if we sell a name, and this kind of goes back to exactly what we were talking about with the XYZ situation too. It's like, which is also why some validation is helpful, because, we know based on our own data, which we know is, legit, and we have access to that people don't, what the inquiries look like on certain names. If we sell a name, Drew does that all the time, where it's like, we have a big sale. He'll go out and buy a bunch of names that were similar to the one we just sold, because we know that there's demand there. And, and I love the idea of having the alternatives for the big names, where it's like, you've got stuff that is going to be way outside the budget for 99% of the people out there. But you give them other options that are still pretty good. And, and that's a good one too, because you're not even saying, no, here, I've got cybersecurity.io for you. Instead, it's, hey, I've got a name that could be its own standalone brand that won't overlap in a way that you'll end up having to deal with, like, somebody trying to buy cybersecurity.com that now is going to be running up against a trademark issue against a lower level name that you sold 2 years earlier, So I think this is all good stuff, man. Gems, nothing but gems today with Adam Strong, everybody.
Trying. I mean, I think early on in the game, when I would get an inquiry and somebody want to buy something that was high priced or whatever, you'll either get a person that's like, hostile about that, or you'll get somebody that just, kind of falls off and just says, no, thank you, and moves on. But I think for anybody that does this in the space and pays attention and has done sales or has done anything related, that's an opportunity that's somebody that just walked in your store. Shane probably speak better about this than anybody, but somebody just walks in your store and they say, hey, do you have any evergreen trees? And you say, no, I don't have any evergreens. And then they just leave. No, you want, that's a customer. That's somebody
you're like, well, evergreens, but I got the deciduous
the
right
analogy
here.
Is,
what I'm saying?
if you stick, like I sell large shade trees, and you come in and say, I want a tree, and you say, well, I only have a 2-inch 10-foot tall sugar maple that's $500. And like, well, I don't have $500. The smart person has that in a container that they can throw in their car for $79 and still get that sale out. It's still a sugar maple, not as good as the big one, but it's something, and you got them out the door. So it's the same concept.
Got to get them some of that sugar maple.
Yeah,
I dig it. Yeah, no, good stuff. All right, cool. All right, so Shane, what about you, man? What do you got? You got a buy or a sell?
So I bought something, but I'm going to talk about a name I was bidding on and didn't win, because I think it's more interesting than the name I bought, and I don't want to give out the price of the name I bought. So I'm going to use somebody else's buy that was that I was participating in. So I don't know if people know, but .ai has its own expiry auction. It handles it itself. It's actually run by Mike, and Park.io handles the whole the whole game, the whole website. But I was participating and almost got Brush.ai. Brush, like paintbrush.ai.
Brush.ai. All right.
And it ended 2 days ago. So it's a pretty recent auction.
Well, and I think AIs, .vcs, obviously .ios, .xyzs. I mean, there's a lot of these these extensions that seem sort of future facing and lend themselves pretty well to these Web3 businesses and startups and all that good stuff. So let's see, what is Brush.ai? What did Shane not win that one for?
So we're talking about what the final sale price was, right?
Final sale price on Brush.ai. By the way, big shout out to Mike Carson and Park.io as well. I mean,
and Steve.
And Steve Webb, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Steve, what up, Steve?
Steve's awesome.
First when he's calling me Steve-O, I'm like, what's up with that? More money, more money. But now I'm like, yeah, fuck that shit. All right. Let's see. All right.
Steve bought me this. Can you guys see this?
What is that?
A coin of some sort.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
now you can see it. Ammar Fati. It's a Stoic coin. Well, after we met at Austin, we were talking about Stoicism because him and Mike are both into Stoicism too. So it was pretty cool.
Well, very cool, man. Anyway, so what is Stoicism meaning? Like on some like meditation or like?
It's a whole philosophy. You'll have to. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
All right.
Longer conversation.
All right, fair enough. It'll be in the annex. The annex episode.
Ammar tried to convert me too. So.
All right.
Well, hey, all good.
It's good.
All right.
It is good.
Y'all ready?
I have no idea on this one. All right. Yeah.
We're just shooting in the dark. Ready, set, spin it. All right. Oh wow. Okay. So here's the range. We've got $2,000 for me. Adam's at 7,000 and Ammar at 12,000 for Brush.
Well, I'll tell you, for me, it's because I bid I won Wisdom.ai like 4 years ago for a big number. And I know they've only gone up since then.
All right. Well, we shall find out. Shane?
Ding, ding, ding. Oh.
That was anticlimactic. We still can't see it.
I know, right?
All I'm seeing is your home screen.
Hold it in front of your
screen. $3,010. That makes me the winner. Bam. Yeah. So, well, so I, for this one, I think, it's I guess Shane, why don't you,
Yeah, I mean,
just to be clear, I wouldn't have paid that much for it, but I'm just seeing these AIs.
I mean, that's all people are talking about right now. I mean, you saw Michael Seigert constantly tweeting about it and trying out the chat system. AI's 100%. I'm not going to say taking over the world, but adjusting the world. Mm-hmm. It's gotten so good in so many things. You don't even I was reading, there's news articles that are definitely written in AI now. You can tell there's a certain pattern they use about repeating stuff in the beginning and the end. I mean, there's a little bit, it's getting close, but some I probably can't tell. But it's definitely AI is changing things. Whether .ai it represents this or not, it has as good a chance as any. It's been doing well. Just look at all the past auctions. Their auctions are selling super well. I don't know about end users yet. That time will tell, but they're going for pretty good. I was there to buy Giggle.ai. I want to build an AI joke site that kind of like tells you a joke based on a keyword.
Ah, that's cool. I like that. That's dope.
So that was awesome. So I bought Giggle.ai, and I think I can build. Wouldn't that be fun though? If you just type in whatever words, and then all of a sudden it'll tell you read the internet and find the best joke for that. So,
well, and I've seen you've got Jasper AI, which is a writing tool, and a handful of other stuff that's being that's out there, and I think it's just when you see, I saw somebody posting the other day, like they were like, write an article about ENS,
that's Tiger,
talks about whatever, and it was like, boom, it just pumped out like, 5 paragraphs better than like anything I've ever written. And I'm just
it's the backbone. Like I use it for my content. So I use content at scale, and use it as the backbone. I mean, I don't use all the writing, but I use it because it lays it out in the perfect form. And then I fill in the data. I write my own stuff in there, and I can, instead of taking me for a good article 3 or 4 days, I can pump it out in maybe 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
awesome.
A huge difference. And it is AI, but it isn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's me writing, but I could not have put that skeleton of an article together in that amount of time. I wouldn't even remembered all those things to talk about. That's the other thing. Like, it just brings things to the surface that I wrote one on whale watching, and I can write a whale watching. I have a bigisland.org is one of my sites, and it had a table of contents. It had like 72 different topics. It wrote I don't remember how many words, like 3,000 words. And then I went through there and said, this is good, this is bad, I need to arrange this a little bit. It was incredible. It's like, that's the future. And one other thing is, on Twitter, there was a guy that had a landscaper that had trouble writing. He was a very poor writer, a really good landscaper, but he wrote an app using the same AI that's available. And so every time this guy sends an email and writes it out in his form, it rewrites it for him in a much more professional, organized, written form. And he showed what the guy originally wrote and what the email that went out to his customer. Incredible. So this guy now is super professional from the customer side and can still do his things without having a great ability to write. Does that teach him to write? Yes or no? But the man's 40 years old. He's he's not gonna develop these writing skills, and he can still compete using AI. I thought it was amazing. Use case. Well,
and I think just the idea of that as a tool, right, where you can basically say, all right, I'm going to write out a bunch of like quick stuff and then turn that into something more polished and, better organized.
Instantly.
I mean, that's crazy, man. I mean, I already let Google finish my sentences and my emails and stuff. Let me know if you have any questions, And
Grammarly is a form of AI, and the fact that it presents better sentences for you and a better layout. So it's all there, and it's changing our world, and it's a tool. That's the thing I always tell everybody. It's not going to be something. It's a tool to be better.
A tool like a brush, for example.
A Brush.ai.
Brush.ai.
There were some good names in there. One of the big ones was Aspen.ai, which didn't make a lot of sense to me as to why it was over $3,000. But
that's why I said 12,000 for Brush, because I actually think Brush is good, and I feel I've been looking at some of those, not recently, but I was looking at those auctions for a while, and I'm like, these prices are stupid, in my opinion.
But I think but shout out to the registry and to Carson and team, because I think it's super smart to, you're building a marketplace to start drawing attention. And now we're talking about it, right? So people are going to be like, so now you're going to only takes one or two more participants to start making, auctions. Like, it only takes two, really, so it's like, that to me is like just to create an opportunity for even more activity and more access. I think is just a great call. Any registry that's not doing that is kind of asleep at the switch.
No, that's what I mean. There's got to be more of it. There's got to be more. I don't want to call it gamification because it's not a true game, but there has to be what Web3 has taught us, that people want ease of buying and selling and instant transfer and quick, they want things curated and collated. I mean, like in ENS.vision takes our domain names. They're only .eth names, but it takes how we should be displaying auctions, boys' names or female names, male names, 3-letter.coms. Like, you click any button and it'll give all the auctions for just that type of name. Like, that curation is what people are looking for. You make categories that people can specialize in. That's going to be the future.
Well, and we said that a lot, like when NFTs and everything with some of the rabbit hole shows is just OpenSea, as annoying as OpenSea is, but if you had that type of sort of seamlessness around transacting for domains like you would for NFTs on a platform like OpenSea, but even more now, like right on the nose, like ENS Vision, it's like, I mean, in some cases, the only thing holding us back is us, right? Not innovating and creating more of a seamless type of, efficient, rapid response type of, so, but you know what? Let's save those for offline conversations. Cause I don't know. It just seems like something that might be, worth talking about. Not on the show. I don't know. So, and on the show, let's get on to the next name. So with that, Ammar, what do you got? You got a buy or a sell, man?
Well, I had a few different sells, but I'm going to use one that's just to prove a point here, that there's something for everybody. So I sold Useless.info, and there's a story behind this name, but I bought it as a joke. But I bought it as a joke, but I think it's a
one.
really cool name. But so I sold that.
Okay.
Useless.info. And I think it's only maybe the second .info I've ever sold, and I have some amazing .infos.
Okay. Well, let's put in a price. Useless.
Let me just confirm the price.
Info.
Okay.
All right. Adam, Shane, you ready? Ready? Here we go. Boom.
Hold on.
Ooh, oh, this is going to be a tight finish here, boys. So we got.
Shit.
I'm 3,500. Adam is 3749.87.
You know, I had 3,800 on my first one, so
4,500.
Wow.
So we're like,
wow. Okay, you guys are all far too generous. This is it's a .info, and it
doesn't matter.
I'm going to win.
It's a great .info though. I mean, useless info is fantastic.
I mean,
I agree.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, we talk about it on the show all the time when you have these, especially, you know, the sort of the not the country code names, which seem to be better from a generic standpoint. XYZ leans generic, right? But the ones that are like an actual term, matching the left and right of the dot is the special sauce there. And we talk about donuts a couple times. You know, all of their strings, they have some amazing domains where you match like the right front with the right back end, and useless.info is like is as good as it gets. So
yeah, no, I love the name, but this is, I think, the only time people have overshot on. Usually, you guys undershoot on what I sell it for. But anyway, that's the price.
Bam! All right, $1,000, $1,090. So that means that I win. So I'm going to give myself some swag. Let's go.
So go ahead, Adam.
No, I'm curious, like, how long have you owned it, and did you make a profit on it?
Yes, I did make a profit. I've owned it for over 10, 15 years. I bought it as a joke because my COO, shout out to Phil Reynolds, I just love the guy, and we would we'd sit next together out on the floor, and I would just say something and he would come up with this most random fact. The guy fucking knew so much stuff, and most of it was useless, but he just knew it. He's like a wealth of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And I was always so impressed. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy this name. I bought it in an auction. I think I spent a couple of $100 on it. And I wanted to just like put stuff that he would say on there. And or just like have a catalog. Like, there's just so many cool facts out there, right? That are really useless, but sometimes you're just curious. And this guy would know all these things. Like, I don't know how he knew it.
Shout out to Phil. I think, what could be neat would be like, almost like a trivia type of play.
Yes.
Yeah. I think is what that really makes me think. A guy like that, it's like, man, he needs to get up on Jeopardy,
Right, exactly. Like, he was that guy. But anyway, so the reason I've been going through, I think I told some of you guys offline, is that I've been trying to like trim the portfolio, right? So I'm putting like low prices. Mm-hmm. I probably had it priced at 5K before, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm just kind of trying to trim and really just have fewer better names. And so to that end, like, I've been selling those kind of names for just less. And,
quality over quantity, baby. All right. Well, hey,
but it just shows you like it's a .info. You can make money on .info.
Mm-hmm. But how long did you have? What'd you pay for it, and how long did you hold it?
Let me see. $100.
This is all pump and dump. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Hey, remember when Carson had .info, or maybe it wasn't Carson, but no, he had .io. .info on Flippa was so hot for that year. Remember 1 year. .info was the bomb. They were selling.
And I got screwed. I think I probably spent like 10, 20 grand on .infos. But I just looked it up. I paid $145.
All right. Yeah. So you sort of 9x'd it over how long?
A long time.
Okay, so. Renewals get you down to 5x, but still.
So yeah, exactly. 5x.
Whatever. I didn't lose money on it, but I also, and as I think all of us have been guilty of this, sometimes we just buy names because we want to own that name. Like, I have names I don't ever think I'm going to sell, nor do I really want to sell. Like, it was actually bittersweet to sell that name because I do like the name, right? But I'm like, I'm never going to actually do anything with it. So let somebody else do something with it.
No, I think it's all good, man. Well, congratulations. And yeah, I mean, maybe .info is about to have its day. You know, they're going to be like, oh, there's this domainer, you know, overseas. His name is, you know, Kamar Uber. So he's the Svengali of .info domains, you know.
Right.
Try not to spend all that in one place there.
Thanks, bro.
Hey, Adam, $1,000.
Mr. Rockefeller.
Hey,
I'm gonna have Sumner log into my account just to verify that
just
I sold
to verify that it's legit.
and then he'll write a piece about.
Hey, can I get into your Afternic account just to make sure?
Yeah,
and
then
you
he's
send
gonna
me
do
your
it
passwords.
Ammar might be one of the top 300 domainers ever. Ever. I'm talking top 300, maybe top 298. All right, well, that's what's up. That's a domain game. Congratulations to me. Another win. Happy to do it. I just want to thank everybody who supported me along the way. All right, let's jump to commercial real quick, and then we're going to come back here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains.
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. We just got done with the domain game. I won. Awesome. And then now we can slide into the NameJetGonnaJet segment, sponsored by NameJet. We're going to talk about some names coming up for auction, see what the Sherpas like, what they don't like. Get to the site on Domain Sherpa and for this post, for this episode, and you can pull the spreadsheet. It's got the domains. It's got the amount of back orders as of the time that we record the show, how many days left in the back order period as of the date that we air the show. And all of these are expiring domains, so they're all going to be private auctions. So the only way you're going to be able to participate is if you actually have a back order in before the end of the back order deadline. So make that happen. In fact, we've got one or two names that actually go out tonight, meaning like as this show airs, the back order deadline is tonight. So hustle and get your back orders in if you are so inclined. Yeah, so well, let's go ahead and let's just dive right into it. And Adam, we've got 18 names on the list, so feel free to talk about a couple. Tell me what you like, what don't you like, what would you be trying to spend on a name. What would, sort of a price point that you think a name is going to sell for that makes it not interesting to you?
I got to actually take these off. It helps me better to not have my glasses on. I like Poser.
Yeah. All right.
I like the Outdoors because that's outdoors.com just sold recently. So I think that one will maybe get some what else do I like? Innovation Ventures I like, and I like Home Medic a lot. And I think that appraisal is probably could be pretty accurate actually, because of there is a company that might come after that one with a trademark though. I know I know somebody that owns the plural. That's somebody close to me. I own the plural.
Well, so interesting. The trademark is Homedics, but like the two words are combined. You know what I mean? So it's like I've never had any
problems.
So it's Homedics.
So yes,
Homedics or Home Dicks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All it's whatever. It's whatever your brain sees. And
yeah.
Home dick.
Homie dicks. Yeah, this is all of a sudden the show has gone from family show to no longer family show. But
I like Poser is like one of those names that like I could see something spinning out of that sometime.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of a weird one.
Yeah, you mentioned the appraisals. We have that on the spreadsheet along with some other data. We say, look, you got to take the appraisals with a grain of salt. There's no algorithm yet. There's no AI that has, cracked the code on real value of domains. But I do think Esteban does a decent job of at least gathering up a lot of information on these names. So, that's useful. So take it or leave it, but definitely take it with a grain of salt. But the homemedic.com one is at 22K. I think, now, do you think that's what you think it's going to sell for on NameJet, or that's what you'd be trying to sell it for to an end user?
I just think it could, end user type of thing. Yep. And, there may be some revenue potential.
End user is higher than that, I think.
Yeah.
I'd be asking 50K probably for that name.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's room there.
No, I think that's a fair point. Let's talk. I
wouldn't spend 22 grand on it. I think it does present some risk. So like, I don't know. I just like it.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. And then Poser is an interesting one too, because it's kind of like a negative name, but it's also sort of like it's a
super brandable.
Well, and it could be for different types of, when I think of how it could be utilized, I think of posing, right? Like, so something with photo. Speaking of photo apps, Adam, you're a bit of a photog, right? Yourself a little bit. I saw that pop in a bio somewhere, but and or some kind of sort of some kind of staging something, like that, frames or something, could be kind of interesting. A way to play on a word that's otherwise negative but stands out, and so I do think that one, and it's got the highest about appraisal out of all the names. So I think that one is pretty interesting. So all right, cool, man. Is there anything that is there a name on here that you just don't like, that you wouldn't even put a $69 back order bid on? Or you think it's just going to run way too much that it's not a name you'd waste your time because
No, I mean, I think they're all 69-ish.
Yeah.
PHOH. I don't really see anything, but I don't know.
You could pronounce that faux, right? Like
right. I haven't done any research on it, so I don't know. Yeah, so it's got potential. It's a $69 bid because it's a 4-letter pronounceable. So. I think this is a better list than some of the past lists that I've seen.
Some of the past lists from other times when you were on the show that I wasn't the host and the procurer of the list. I get what you're saying, Adam. I get it, and you're welcome. You're welcome, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
I think he's actually referring to some other lists that you
like it.
I know. That's the joke. That's the joke, man. All right. So, Mark, what do you think,
it's
man?
Provocative.
Gets the going.
So, I actually had the exact same names that I liked. I will definitely be bidding on Poser, the outdoors.com. And just because the kind of guy I am, I'll be bidding on feelings.org because,
feelings. Yeah.
I want people to feel good.
Getting your feelings. So do we know what outdoors.com sold for? Is that out there in the universe?
I don't think it was a domain sale outright, though. I think there was some content.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it, but in the six figures, right?
I'm sure BP's got the lowdown on that.
Yeah. So, because I like it with, I like it with the, what I mean? With, I think we talk about that on the show a lot. And for some names, it's just, that works, it's kind of like.
It needs to be the great outdoors.
I know. I thought about that too, shout out to John Candy, and the scene with the squirrel, not squirrels, raccoons maybe digging in the trash and everything. All right. So what else?
So those three I like. Anything I don't like, I don't know what Athanasia is. So I don't know. I'd have to look that up, but it's actually, the appraisal is on the higher end of the list. So I just didn't look it up. I didn't spend the time. So I don't know. I don't love that one.
It's a name, and I believe it's also utilized as there's like an anime character that has that name, and I think that it means beginning. There's some sort of other.
Okay. It says it's a plant.
Oh, okay.
Is it Shane? Is it a plant?
I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, I don't like millionaires.net. I just don't know what you would do with that. I guess I would spend $69 on it, but I just don't know what you would do with that. So I think that's kind of worthless. And
I'm sorry, which one did you say?
Millionaires.net.
Okay. Yep. Oh, and Athanasia means deathlessness or immortality. in some, I don't know where that comes from.
That's pretty cool. Maybe I'll bid on it.
Immortality. And then there's an Athanasian creed, which is like a Christian creed. So and then there was Saint Athanasia of Aegina, was a Greek, was a saint who worked in the Byzantine Empire. So, there's some stuff.
So if that one, like, has a lot of SERP, good, sounds like a good search volume and or search results, and maybe you're going to get that cheap because you probably won't have a lot of competition.
Oh, and it looks like there's also a game on Steam of a horror first-person shooter where you're Carmen Flores, a researcher and an explorer called to a mysterious facility in South America. So, I'm just saying.
And then one last one I think that might go under the radar, Privacy Pro, I actually think is a good brand.
I dig that one a lot. So when I was at Web, part of the legal team, I was our chief privacy officer for a bit. And, so I kind of spent some time in and around sort of the privacy, space, right? GDPR, CCPA. I mean, there's a whole lot of, privacy data. I mean, there is so much, focus on that. I just read an article. Facebook has a line item in their P&L. It's like a $3 billion line item to pay fines in Europe around privacy violations, where they are like, you know what? We're just we'll just pay it, and it's worth more for us to pay it than it is for us to adhere to the actual privacy rules and laws. And I think it's so there's a lot. And I think if you are a privacy pro, and that becomes your gig, like that's a pretty cool brand to have.
It could totally be also like a software, right? Like there's so much stuff out there, a service that you sign up for. Or whatever.
That's true. It's like
got a lot of use.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, VPN. I use Privacy Pro.
Yeah.
As opposed to like hide HMA, just hide my ass. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I use Privacy Pro for VPN. I actually think I like that even more now that we've talked about it. I'm like, I'm about to up my bid. So, all right, cool. Well, all good stuff. All right, Shane, what about you?
I like Privacy Pro. No, I'm just kidding. That's
I do now.
That's all I had left in my bag after we went through all these. I know you hooked me with the Grand Garden, but you can put a lot of words in front of garden to make a name. People always, and you only need one. That's the other thing. It's not like we were talking about lawn care where everybody has lawn care or landscaping. You can just throw words and sell all day because there's so many users. Garden's only going to be so many, so it's okay. Probably worth a couple thousand to an end user, but that's about it. Yeah, I mean, the outdoors I love. I think there's certain ones that it works better. I did think the Great Outdoors, but it made me. I own the Trail, and I love the Trail. It's such a beautiful brand, and works. I like Trail, but I think the Trail is for the price to what you can sell it for. I'd rather have the Trail, honestly, sure. depending of course what you put on Trail, but I like that one a lot. Powerman's interesting. I mean, I can see how that can be a tool of some sort, something that helps you be stronger than you actually are.
That is Powerman you're referring to.
Powerman, yeah, Powerman.
Powerman.
Yeah. You say it fast, so you don't emphasize the man, because we don't want to do that anymore. We don't have
JT power. Is the man.
Power person,
yeah. It's funny because we have, like, our slogan to our nursery is 5th generation nurseryman. And my daughter worked there and became the 6th person. And she's like, I don't like nurseryman. And I'm like, 6th generation nursery person. There's just no word that flows quite like that. But I also get it.
It's because you sent her off to the East Coast for college.
That's why she quit. That's why she didn't work there. She said, if you can't label me properly, I can't work here. I said, that's a good idea. I'm not going to work here either. And so I also like, I love labs names. That's the other thing. I think that's kind of the new trend for your company, especially in Web3, is they call themselves labs. So I think there's a good opportunity to build a little portfolio of something.labs. Now they might take, and they will probably take .xyz, and you find yourself buying all the labs .com and XYZ. That gets a little expensive. But I do think there's opportunity to buy some solid lab names and build if you can get the price right, a cheap portfolio of 50 names and probably do okay with it. So,
but so real quick, because I know we're on a time crunch here. what's the most you could sell that name for? I like the name, but my question is, what is the most you could sell that name for?
Oh, a couple grand. But
I gotta. Is it lab or labs? Which is better?
Labs.
Okay,
well, I got a lab.
I think it depends.
I got a bunch of them. Yeah, I think it depends. I got one right now cooking in the hopper. A GoDaddy offer on Jersey Lab, and it's in the almost in the mid 4-figure range. So that
okay.
And I'm kind of pushing a little bit harder just to see what I can get. But
and I think labs is better than lab, honestly.
No, it depends on the name. Like I actually think I like Name Lab. Let's say we're saying Name Lab or Domain Lab.
Better than
right. See, but if we're talking about Web3 companies like Shane, and I would agree with Shane on this if you're talking about Web3, because you got Dapper Labs, YugaLabs, like everything is labs plural in the Web3 space. But I agree that the right name for the right user, like Name Lab, if you're talking about a tool or, a domain,
I agree.
service, of course, I'd rather have Name Lab than Name Labs. You know what I mean? So in that case, I'd rather have the singular.
So the huge domains portfolio, is massive, and they own Jersey Labs, the plural, and they got it listed for like 4 somewhere in that ballpark. So I'm basically there with this negotiation, but of course, I'm a dick.
You're at him.
I'm just not a nice person when I negotiate. But well, I like, and the name we're talking about is Win Labs. I don't know if we said that at the outset, but but I do like that as a brand for a Web3 company, especially if you're in gaming, and it's like we're Win Labs. Like the whole idea is you're trying to win. And
but going back to what we're saying though, or what I was trying to ask is like, so Shane, you said a couple of grand is what you think?
I mean, like if you get that for $200, I think you 10x it, no problem.
Yep.
Right, but you're not going to get it for $200.
Correct. If you're paying $1,500,
there's only 6 bidders, so you're not going to pay a huge amount.
I agree with Adam. I think you could get 5K. But
it sells for 2,
which is too much.
Well, I mean, there's people that are going on thinner margins than we're used to.
200 to 2,000 works. Does that work for you? If you were to get it for 200 and sell it for 2,000,
of course, I think 10x like that, no problem. $200,
but it won't
I'll lay
go
that
for
all
200.
day.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
I wouldn't pay 2,000 to try to make 4,000 because
it's going to go over $1,000.
And this would be where if Braden was on the show, he would this is where he would start getting all amped up and be like, you just can't hold a name. It's going to take you 6 years to sell it, and you're going to try to get
that guy doesn't sell anything.
All his deals, they don't fall. They don't come through. No, I mean, look, he knows better than anybody. Nobody's lived it more than he has, which is why he, really bangs that drum, especially lately, saying, look, like people who think, hey, I'm going to spend $2,000 on a name and NameJet and I'm going to sell it for 10K, you're going to be waiting a while to do that. And in a situation like this, you're probably not going to get 10K unless you actually get a company that establishes themselves as winlabs.io or .xyz or .ai and then decides, hey, we're going to, we've had success. Now we're going to go ahead and upgrade. And then they might pay 10K, 20K then, but you're gonna be waiting a long time for that. But if you can get it for 200 all day, but if you're, but I don't think any of us on here are going to spend spend anywhere near $2,000 on a name.
We got a hard stop for Mr. Strong, who was kind enough to come on here. So
I'm good.
Oh,
good. Yeah.
Let's just wrap it up. But I got a jet.
Yeah. No. I think we covered almost that.
NameJetGonnaJet.
NameJetGonnaJet. That's what the shirt says.
Keeping the power on in the Sherpa Labs.
Yeah, Sherpa Labs, baby. And
Sherpa Labs, the plural sounds better than the singular.
Yeah,
right.
Course, yeah.
But not always.
No, I like name. What is Name Lab? Is that a thing?
I actually, I think I tried to buy it. I think I have either the plural or I might have one of them.
I like the singular a lot. Like, let's talk about that. That's a good name.
Yeah. You know now I know. I tried to buy that.
Okay.
And the guy wanted a partner with me, and he wanted some crazy thing, and it didn't happen.
Adam, we're gonna have you model that hat. I'm gonna send over a photographer for the
seriously,
catalog.
man. You make that look good. I actually need to get the Bee House hat. I don't think I got it. I ordered honey and didn't get a hat. Did I need to buy the hat separately, or is the hat special
50?
order?
I don't think you did.
Yeah, I think this is like something you have to do when you turn, or maybe like Shane said, the Illinois thing. But
yeah,
I'm just not. I don't know. I appreciate the compliments because I'm
Illinois Jones. Yeah, you
Just
should
not
rock that. Your
my
boys would be
thing.
like, "Oh man, Dad, you doing
You're
your
like,
thing,
did
man."
your
All
dad
of a sudden,
bring
they're
his
gonna be
younger
like,
brother
they're gonna
to
be
the
showing
They'll
you
be
a little
like,
bit. No, don't be folding it
don't
down,
wear
man. You
that.
got to keep
Don't
it
touch
flat
it.
brim, man.
No.
Anyway, all right. So that's the list. NameJetGonnaJet. Everybody get after it. That's good feedback. We've got about 5 minutes. I think we're going to shut this down. This is the grand closing. Adam, as today's sort of pseudo special guest, you have anything else you want to talk about with anything you guys got going on? I know you guys are doing big things at Evergreen. Again, big shout out to Jen. And anything else you want to hype up?
No, just beehouse.com. Go get
Oh,
your
look at
Christmas.
that, man. Look at that. That's love right there. That's some Illinois love, you know?
Yeah, he loves Illinois local honey.
Right.
And all right, cool. Well, what about you guys? Anything else on either of your agendas?
I got a newsletter I'm doing on Twitter. I love Elon coming in saying we're going to monetize our content creators. They're going to do video. They're going to do newsletters. So if you go to @ShaneCultra at Twitter, I got a newsletter. I write long form.
All right.
Me just
No, you
being
don't.
me.
No, you don't. You got your AI bot.
Yeah, I was going to say he writes
No,
short form, but the
No, you
short
can't.
form, but AI
you
writes
can't
long
write
form.
what I write. Now the other stuff, yeah, but this stuff's pretty. I'm going to write a book here, and I've been journaling all the things that have happened to me, and I got like 100 events going, like stories in there, and I just put 10 of them. And Adam knows. Maybe I told him or not. When I was at his party, I was so thankful to have my wife there because all the stories I was telling, all his friends were like, "No, that you did that, he did that," and my wife just shook her head like, "Yeah, he worked at a dog track. Yeah, he knows." Like his friend was talking about Black-Scholes theory, the relationship behind options trading. I'm like, I studied that for a year, building an algorithm to trade options. I know all about Black-Scholes. I met Black, and he was like, "You met?" And I was like, and then my wife was just like, "Yeah, he knows Elliot," like those kind of things. So, but that's what the newsletter is, just telling about what I know, the fun I'm having, smiling every day, staying positive, and trying to keep, and I don't do anything well, but I'm pretty consistent when doing it not well. I will write every day for 20 years with no problem. So
half the battle is just showing up, man. And there are very few people who have as much drive and work as hard as you.
I can sit in the chair with anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm with it, man. So Ammar, what about you?
So I just signed up for Shane's newsletter as he was talking. So everybody should go sign up for Shane's newsletter. And I actually feel like a real asshole because I still haven't ordered any honey. So that's going to happen hopefully today.
And I feel like I haven't sent it to you. So where are you?
No, I've been wanting to order the spicy honey because I try to not have a lot of sugar.
The cap on that honey you won't taste for 2 days. It's called devil's breath.
I want that. So I'll be ordering that. I think I would just say, like, everybody just be nice, right?
Yeah.
Like, just fucking handle your business and be nice.
So Drew and I were having an unrelated conversation earlier today, and it's some of what we were saying. It's like, we're in a tough economic climate. I mean, the Fed's goal is to raise interest rates to literally slow down the economy, which means they want people to, less people to be working and make money, and and that's going to create all sorts of ripple effects all over the place with regards to people and their livelihoods and everything else. And so much of their life stems from that. And and I think then you're just going to see a lot more of. He's getting ready. Adam's getting ready to go. He's like, "All right, I'm out. You guys are now on some like live chat bullshit."
NameJet
Like,
and Adam got a jet.
I'm having fun. I already texted somebody. I said I'll be a little late. So.
Yeah, no, and we appreciate it, man. And but yeah, no, look. I'll close this up 30 seconds and then we're out. But yeah, it's like, look, guys, like, things aren't easy. You don't know what other people are going through. I mean, I was in a funeral last week in New York. I got family in the hospital this week here in Florida. Shit happens quickly and bad stuff happens, when all the time and out of nowhere. And it's like, so appreciate what you have. Try to remember too, what you put out in the universe is what you're going to get back. And there's a lot of people, especially with, we've got a bit of a voice, you've got a bit of a following, people are going to hear what you say. You're going to amplify, certain tones, certain messages. It's like everyone can conduct themselves and govern themselves accordingly and however they want. But, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. So
right.
So I think that's,
and I'll let you go. But that was my newsletter the other day is all the people that are mean. Let's concentrate on the people that are good to you. Like I appreciate Adam's friendship. I love going over there. I appreciate my wife going an hour and a half each way, not knowing a soul. And she was with me the whole way. Those are the things I'm appreciative of. And so rather than focus on all the people that are dicks, I'm going to concentrate on the people that have made me better and made me comfortable and made my life better. And don't ever forget to thank those people. That was kind of my newsletter the other day. I know it's kind of sappy, but man, when you hit our ages as old men, you just got to be thankful for what you have and not really worrying about what you don't or what you're trying to achieve. So
100%. And I think that, we're in a unique position to be able to, kind of pay it forward and, in a lot of ways. And, and it's easy though in the hustle and bustle and the stress and to just, want to kind of, to be on edge. And so take a breath, appreciate what you have, try to, appreciate other people's struggles and understand that, what you're kicking out there is probably seen and heard by more people than you even realize. So, so that's it. That's the sappy, vibe of the day off of the Sherpa. The Sherpa's just kicking it. And but listen, I want to thank my co-host for being here today, especially Adam. Brought the gems and the vibe, and so glad to finally have you on the show, and Bashay and Ammar as well. And to the audience, like I say on every show, thank you guys for tuning in. Without you, there's no us. Hit us up. We're not hard to find. Otherwise, we'll see everybody next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out, y'all.